What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. We got a lot of stuff that we need to discuss in today's video, so let's talk about what we are going to go over. And if you have questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, also click that subscribe button, and let's continue. So here's what we know, and we do have some good news today, and I want to explain why this is good news, because here's what I'm going to go over. I'm going to be going over why and how the U.S. weekly jobless claims, even though we saw them go up, this is actually considered somewhat good news. We're going to talk about how millions of people were being pushed into poverty as a result of the Ukraine war, but there's also some pushback and some after effects from the COVID pandemic. So I want to address what's going on there. We're also going to address the amount of Americans that are struggling financially due to food and gas prices surging and staying high for many months. It's not just the prices started surging, it's they surged and they stayed there. That's the big issue. We're also going to talk about how our military has cut off more than 60,000 servicemen and women from pay and benefits for one reason. I want to address what that is because some people are saying that this is complete BS. So again, I want to know your thoughts on this and just let me know down in the comment section below. But let's talk about the good news out today. According to multiple economists, the good news is that applications for unemployment insurance rose last week, but we aren't seeing widespread cuts. Unemployment claims rose and they are now sitting at 235,000 for the week. Okay. This is actually a 5,000 more than the median estimates. But the good news is that it's not that people are losing jobs, because I think we can all agree if you lose a job, that is considered bad news. But that's not the good news. It is the fact that the strength in our labor market is moderating and layoffs are not happening in one specific industry. That would be horrible news. So the good news is that we are continuing to see, layoffs. People are changing jobs, right? And it's just the way the market is. The good news is that it's not affecting just one industry. That would be detrimental. So that's the good news. Now, this increase also puts state benefits at a total of 1.38 million continued claims. This number is still near historic lows, but we are seeing that the increase, this number is increasing in the past 2 months, about 9 to 10 weeks. Again, the good news is that our labor market is still strong, but the fact that it is slowing, okay, right now this weakening, this is considered a good thing for inflation. Because think about this. If our job market, our labor market is starting to slowly weaken, this means that wages aren't going to be pushed up. And as wages get pushed up, so does inflation. And it's kind of that wage price spiral that I talked about 1 to 2 months ago. The good news is that we are going to have an answer on this very soon because the June jobs report gets released tomorrow morning. This is what everybody's going to be looking at. We want to see our wages still going up, and if they are, how fast. At an annualized rate, how fast are wages going up? And we need to see which industries are returning to normal. And when I say normal, this means pre-pandemic levels. Because we know some industries saw huge wage increases, others not so much. Some people are working less hours. That is not a pre-pandemic norm. That is something that's different. Are people still working from home? We don't know. We're going to find that out. And again, I will be back on tomorrow morning, explain what we are seeing and whether this is a good sign or signs of trouble to come. So again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that update. Now, we're also getting multiple reports that say millions of people were pushed into poverty due to the war in Ukraine. Now, according to the United Nations Development Program, they say that 71 million people from across the world, are experiencing poverty as a result of higher food and energy prices. And what is crazy about this number is that The same program estimated that 125 million people worldwide fell into poverty during the pandemic. Now, obviously, the pandemic is a completely different animal, right? It was completely different. But again, more than 50% of those people are still in poverty. That's the struggle. That's where multiple countries are saying that we need to do more. We need to provide more. But again, how do you do that? Now, we do know that, and obviously, a lot of these countries that were hit the hardest during the pandemic, they bounced back. But here's the problem. Due to the war in Ukraine, due to prices in food and energy going up, a lot of these economies are still being impacted. A lot of these people are still being hurt. So yes, most of these countries did bounce back, but the issue is now that the situation in Ukraine is pushing them back into poverty. So we're likely to see, if this continues, about 100 million people pushed into poverty. So again, that's worldwide. Now, I want to address some new research that came out. And this new research is from the Monmouth University. And what they are saying right now is that about 42%, okay, 42%, almost 50% of Americans are now feeling pressure. They're financially strapped. But why? Well, according to reports, we are blaming inflation as the main concern. But the tough part about this is that this isn't the highest number. Okay, there's a lot of people that were worried about inflation earlier on, about a month or so ago. But here's the problem, and this happened during the pandemic. People were worried about what's going to happen. They're worried about jobs. They're worried about inflation a little bit, not so much. They were worried about our economy dipping into a recession, which we did, but we bounced back. It was very quick. But here's the thing. The 42% is the highest number we have seen for as far as inflation and that concern in more than 5 years. And yes, this includes the 2 years from the pandemic. So even during the pandemic, the American people were not concerned about inflation. We were concerned about other things. So what is actually scary is that Americans feel less financially stable right now than due to inflation than they did during our economic shutdown. And we didn't even know what was going to happen at that point. So that's very concerning that 42% of Americans are under financial pressure now. And a lot of it's because there's no talk of stimulus. We know that's something that can't happen. We know interest rates are going up. Affording a home or being able to buy a home is something that a lot of people cannot do now due to the rise in rates, right? Due to the amount of capital that's going to be required to put down on a home. Can't do that. So this is why a lot of people are feeling financial pressure. And let me know down in the comment section below. If you are feeling financially pressured, if you're strapped, let me know. Just type in the comment section below, financial pressure. Or if you are doing good and everything's just fine, just type in booming. I'm just curious. How many people are doing really well versus how many people are really struggling? Now, let's talk about our 60,000 servicemen and women. Because there are over 60,000 servicemen and women who are no longer receiving payments or paychecks and benefits. This story was actually reported on Friday that thousands would not be getting paid, would not be getting benefits. But we didn't know exactly how many. Well, now we do. There was a new report that came out. Okay, this came out just the other day where it now says, let me show it to you. It now says that some 40,000 National Guard and 20,000 reserve soldiers who refuse to be vaccinated against COVID are no longer allowed to participate in their military duties, also effectively cutting them off from their military benefits, Army officials announced on Friday. Here's what you need to know about that. There are the 40,000 National Guard, 22,000 reserve soldiers. It's because they refuse to get the COVID vaccine. Now, The military has stated that soldiers are required to get vaccines for at least a dozen other ailments. This includes a flu shot and a hepatitis shot. So they say there shouldn't be a reason why soldiers won't get the COVID vaccine. But here's the problem. The problem is the reason why, and this is looking at multiple studies, multiple polls. Why would somebody not want the vaccine? The number one reason why people do not want to get the vaccine is because it was rushed. It wasn't something that was methodically thought out over years and decades. It was something that was rushed to get done and pushed into the American people, into pretty much people across the world. It was something that was rushed within months. Now, good news is, it's helped many people, but at the same time, there are some, side effects. But the problem now is that we could be losing a good amount of our military personnel due to this ruling. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think this is something that we should be considering? We should be thinking about, okay, well, maybe these people shouldn't be allowed in the military. Even though we're more than 2 years into this pandemic, a lot of people, a lot of lawmakers, right? A lot of presidents across the globe, they're not really talking about COVID anymore. Now it's about inflation. Now it's about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, sanctions, right? That's what they're discussing. Oil. These are the discussions, not really COVID. So, should we be, hurting our military because they don't want to go and get this vaccine? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But that is what we know at this time. Again, as I know more about what's going on in our economy and around the world, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.